Okay. You would think I'd be doing this long enough not to make these amateurish mistakes. You know, didn't brush my hair, no makeup. Yeah. Um, I've got to go to work today, and yeah, mornings, right? I've been reviewing my videos so much and gotten used to this format, so here we go. Okay, still in Boston. Oh, let me get it. Yeah. What day is it? It's Wednesday, August 5th. Oh, boy. Darn. You think I've been doing this long enough? It is Wednesday, August 2020. I think it's a 5th. All right. I'm used to this format, so we'll just go with it since this is obviously still an ongoing concern. What am I? How's the food around here? Yeah. All right. I'm in a transitional period at this point. Just gone from getting my own supplies to actually going back and eating here. Fruit is rarely a problem, so definitely take advantage of that. Had to get this from Whole Foods because milk at my age is just not going to work anymore, which I have discovered in the last couple of days. Aging is something else, isn't it? New discoveries all the time. Yeah, this is another thing I've noticed when I got back here. Every country I've been in, they have these little single serve milk alternatives, soy milk or whatever it is, usually soy. This country did not have it. Okay, this was just a few months ago. People must have been hollering for this because globally speaking, well, Southeast Asia, every country I was in, they had these single serving milk alternatives. So just in case I don't have a big enough target on on my back, the milk industry kind of thing, yeah. Finally, they managed to get through, these single serving milk alternatives because the industries, the corporations in this country virtually run everything. I mean, they've got to be. It's quite an ordeal. Finally, single serving milk alternatives. So, God, corporate power in this country is unbelievable. But finally, we're catching up with the rest of the world, at least a little bit, tiny little bit, right? Okay. Updates. I didn't mean to do this, another video I didn't mean to do, right? But I've cracked the door open a little bit on being cynical because I was trying to keep it as positive as possible, right? So I got an avalanche of things. The way the mind works, wonderful, isn't it? Yeah, I guess this video is for those that want to keep the Cold War, want to revitalize the Cold War, or for those that have never stopped fighting it, or whatever. And for the war profiteers that love them and light a candle to them and do everything they can to make sure they go forth and multiply, or whatever it is. Yeah. Hanoi and Hanoi's history. Yeah. God, I never meant to do this thing, but sins of the father, yeah. But if you're gonna drag that one out, then whatever side you're talking about can take pot shots at me, because my family's all over the dang place. Okay, mother was a rabble rouser, you know, in the 70s and all that kind of stuff. Armchair activist, but whatever. Still in Miami, you don't. I mean, I'm not going to even say Miami is pro-Republican. Miami is you agree with us or you die kind of thing. So it's beyond just being conservative Republican. Okay, it's which is a very Spanish approach to things. So yeah, and yeah. My grandfather, on the other hand, I might as well just, all the, we've entered the age where it's not even, people aren't even exaggerating, they're just lying. I mean, if it was just exaggerations, they'd be more careful with their lies, okay? But now they're getting so, I guess your haters have to hate, and we got plenty of them, so yeah, just to keep them happy. They don't even care if the lies are obvious or not. As long as they can find someone bold enough to make them, they're happy, you know? So you just get someone who has no shame whatsoever to go out there and just say any lie they want to and whatever, and you're going to make a hell of a lot of people happy. Yeah. So, and there are plenty of shameless people out there, more than happy to collect the dollars and tell the lies, and with a straight face. Good gracious, boy, I tell you what. So, yeah, that's the time we're in, right? That's everyone's eager to start shooting. So, yeah, so they're not even being careful, right? They're not even just keeping to exaggerations. There's a bold-faced lie. You just need people who have absolutely no shame to say it, because people don't even care anymore. They'll rally around everything. It doesn't matter how obvious it is. When you are so eager to believe, to justify your own nastiness, you know, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. What a wonderful age we're in, right? Okay. Fast road to extinction. Hey, wonderful. Okay. I've already given the God, what a stupid species we are spiel, so. Okay, cynical video. All right, we're not talking about ancient history. All right, this was only, how many? Anyway, there are plenty of people still kicking that were around when the nastiness was going down. So, Hanoi, you know, you have the younger generation, and if you are really committed to community, being community minded, not just, you know, motivated by greed and self-interest, and you know, stop at that, which is what we excel at. Yeah, I know there are plenty of people. I'm talking about mainstream culture, what's being pushed nowadays. All right, there are always good people and there are always bad people running around confusing everything, but whatever. The prevalent policies and what they stand for, which agendas are finding the biggest platform and all that kind of stuff, right? You know, things were only so easy and we only had one issue, right? You know, it's never going to happen. So, here's the cynical video. There are plenty of people still kicking around that were around when things were, when genocide, okay, care whatever name you want to give it. Yeah, all countries deal with that. Well, for one, no, all countries do not. There are some that do. You might say there are many that do, but that's no rationale unless you have that kind of mentality that to you that justifies it. So I'm trying not to get off topic, but it's such a broad field. There's going to be bad blood. The lady in the public restroom, whatever she thought I was up to, some kind of perverted thing, I guess, I don't know. Whatever. This is, again, I'm going to be cynical here. Whatever hostilities any group holds towards Americans, if you go to the local restaurants, you're going to deal with that. If you have a run-in with someone, whether at a hostel, because a lot of the people, especially cleaning people, they don't speak English. So if there's any miscommunication, it's going to happen there. Whatever frustration eventually builds up in the tourist or whatever, someone that's there, and spills over on people it should not spill over to. By the way, if that kid in that fast food place is watching, I'm so sorry. Tired, not enough coffee in me, and you hear all these scam things with the shortchanging and whatever. That was my carelessness, and yeah. So it's going to go back and forth. There's going to come a point where there's going to be enough hostility built up that it's going to spill over. Okay, so yeah. Yes, this is a very cynical video, and like I said, I never meant to get here, but here I am. And I will not take a taxi if I can possibly help it. That thing, the aggravations of learning the bus system, it's basically because of that. Yeah, and I really don't have enough money to play the tourist and just go to the tourist hotspots, where at least they, they'll tolerate tourists because they're overcharging them for everything. So it's kind of a revenge fantasy being played. I don't know what. Yeah, this is very cynical, and I'm gonna try to make it as cynical as possible without sounding so bouncing off the walls ridiculous. Okay, younger people, they don't have this kind of animosity, but there are plenty of old people that are still, just out of personal experience, they will not ever get past, you cannot get past that kind of thing. And why should you be expected to? I mean, that's, okay. So you're going to get a lot of that. And for me, interpreting someone saying, no, Big C is just for wholesalers. Me interpreting them as this person's trying to rip me off or get one over on me. When if you stop and think about it, the locals would only see it as wholesalers, because they would go there, they'd buy a large purchase, and then they sell it to foreigners. Of course, they want to profit, right? So, but when it runs back to the way I have to interpret it, I'm going to think, oh, this person's, one, just blatantly lied to me, and two, these people that are selling these stuff are ripping me off. Again, from his point of view, he may have said what he understands to be the truth. They are wholesalers because that's what a lot of locals do. And the locals, they're not going to have a business to just meet cost, right? They're going to make a profit, or why would they bother? That's the sensible, reasonable way to interpret it. But you still will come across these, like people at the photocopy place. The guy that was really making those not rude gestures, but kind of disgusting gestures. You know, like you see some punks doing the like the rocket when they blow their nose, and they things you do to purposely gross people out. You know, whether this guy was picking his nose or hacking his breakfast stuff, or whatever the heck kind of thing that it was just. I was looking at him, so what is this guy's, malfunction? What the heck is... So you will have locals like that who will, in their own way, say, foreigner, I'm not dealing with you, okay? Now, you look at this face. This is not an American face, but I mean, after you've heard this person speak a couple of times, you know that, okay, this person's an American and doesn't even speak Vietnamese. How do you get beyond that point of being labeled that by someone who may be hostile towards that group? Well, you would speak Vietnamese, even broken, at least, that's, you may get to the point where they'll at least tolerate your presence, kind of thing. But goodness, if you have that hostility and you're dealing with a person that doesn't even speak one word of your language, I mean, and again, I was not expecting to end up in Vietnam. I thought I was going to Thailand, when the thing in China, the work permit situation in China changed in midstream, kind of thing. So I didn't know I was going to end up there. I obviously knew about the Vietnam War, but as far as how it had played out up to this point, what was happening, how people were dealing with each other. I didn't read any guidebooks. Which is probably good, because it's so much BS now. I probably wouldn't have believed it anyway. It probably was actually the best way to find out. Go and experience it yourself. The younger generation will be able to deal with you. They may or may not be hostile depending on their own family's situation and how they've talked to their kids. Have they passed the torch of hatred and revenge onto their kids? Are the kids a blank slate? Or, it's very personal and depends on your particular set of circumstances. But all the same, this isn't ancient history. There will be incidents, but yeah, it's I don't want to lead anyone down a primrose path. If you don't know the language, if you can't even interact in that way, you're probably better off sticking to the tourist places. Unfortunately, not everyone can afford to have that approach, but those circumstances obviously do still exist. Looking at that, what would be the best place to pick as far as where to live and all that kind of stuff? Yeah, this face and what it, as I've already stated, I am Cuban. I mean, both my parents were born in Cuba. My grandfather is Chinese. I might as well just kick that one out there right now. Was Chinese, and right there, you know, there's there's a heck of a lot going down. If you are at all familiar with Spanish culture, they're not very open to outsiders. Okay, they don't like them. It's a war culture. They're always used to being in wars, so they're gonna. Outsiders are not the top of the list as far as what they can tolerate. So it's minority groups are treated with remarkable hostility, and you know their situation has to be pretty intense for them to even the minority groups to be there. You know, either they perceive a profit or the historical situation of their local locale, whatever in China was so extreme that they had to leave or whatever it was, right? So yeah. So did my father have issues with his mother to have actually married someone who had Chinese blood? I come from a very messy family background. You would think that Americans would probably be the worst group you can be in, but now the Chinese are. It's just they can get me on no matter what what point they want to hit. If we're going with the sins of the father thing again, rabble rousing mom, Chinese grandfather, any side you want, you know, you're a target. So to be as cynical as I can manage, that city that borders on what was it? Kailaos? I don't even know, but yeah, I've got it written down somewhere. I suppose if I was expecting the worst kind of environment, that would probably be the best place, you know, to go. But I mean, the only thing I know about China is what my mom's talked about. The only thing she learned is some romanticized version of her father's native land, and the kid was brought by his parents when he was 1 year old. So I mean, it's like he was more Cuban than Chinese, and you know, I don't know. I guess they stick to their own neighborhoods, so that may not be the case. But as time goes on, it's still not going to be the same. So whatever international distinction you're given because you're not really belonging to anything at that point, in this day and age, I'm a target. It doesn't matter who you're talking. You know, if anyone haters gotta hate, well, good Lord, they're going to have a field day right here. So it's like just, and again, they're not even caring about exaggerations. You just got to find someone shameless enough, willing to, you know, to tell the lie, and everybody will rally about it because they're just loving it. So. Okay, so that's as cynical as I can get it. Really, the only way to get past a lot of that is to learn the language. You may never sound like a native, but you can make the effort and be mindful of what happened. And there are plenty of people still around who were there. So your whitewashing will only be faced with resentment, and that's for the ones that won't get in your face about it. There's no excuse. I don't care what you say. Oh, every country does not, and even the ones, even if there are innumerable countries that do, it's not a justification. So, how do you approach that? You're juggling everything else. How do you even deal with my particular circumstance? Do I just start teaching English online here? And then just, make annual visits, or maybe 2 or 3 times if I'm successful enough to have an income that allows me to do that, until I'm familiar enough with the culture and language to be able to be almost comfortable in the environment. Do I just apply to those schools, English schools from here? Because if I do the local schools, I'm almost at retirement age as it is for them. They won't even let their own people teach after 55. I'm pushing that, getting pretty close to that. So, I mean, what are the odds, right? Of course, if you're 25 to 40, you don't have any of these issues. Well, still, that American thing, it's hard to get over. So, you don't have to budget every penny. Well, nowadays, who does that apply to? If you're that comfortable, chances are you're going to stay put. Do this on credit cards? I don't know, I guess we're doing everything else on credit cards. Most people are, if you're to believe anything now, but so this is my cynical video. You may have to just repeated visits until it's not such a shock, until you are able to wrap your head around some of the things you have to do, and you can be more focused as far as obtaining those first few teaching positions, or apply from here, or while you're still in the U.S. to American or English schools over there. If you don't have those age limitations, you can apply to local schools. I think Vietnam Works is usually the ones that deal with those, going directly to the local schools. But I'm getting close to 55, 53, so yeah, I don't know. All right, I've been at this for half an hour, and I think I probably should be getting up and finishing off whatever I have to do before heading off to work. This is my cynical video. I don't know if I'm gonna, if I do upload this, I don't think I'm gonna put much of a, well, no tags on this one. I don't like this video. But there it is. Okay, talk to you later. This train's been pausing before this stopped so frequently that perhaps it'll give me a minute to do this. It's still Wednesday.
It's
It's still Wednesday. It's about 8:35 a.m. I'm on my way to PetSmart. The province I was talking about was Laokai. Now I don't know how much that's going to change, but something tells me Hue is still going to be the destination of choice. But I'm still going to have to spend like 3 years in Hanoi picking up the language. It's going to be a harsh 3 years. I won't be able to afford the tourist hotspots. So it is going to be supermarkets and fast foods. And when I get desperate and adventurous, yes, even local restaurants. Street vendors are probably safest, but whatever. Which reminds me, I've got to look at that haggling video, probably edit it, and upload that again. I'm going to get very good at editing. I can see that now. Like I said, you never get the shots you want, so you're going to have to learn to tinker with whatever you have. Okay. So, again, the video I never wanted to make. This is Cynicism run amok. We'll leave it at that. I don't know if you can hear me at this point. But still trying to figure out how to get back to Vietnam. I could try a credit card. I'm going to keep on trying to save. I don't want to get bogged down with all the details that I have to deal with. I may just go ahead and apply to schools from here. Again, with my age and the challenges that presents, I may have to confine myself with English schools. I mean, you know, American, English, or whatever it is. Again, I had initially dismissed them as scammers, but those were schools giving their TEFL courses and then promising job placement afterwards. I'm sure plenty of them are legit, and I'm sure some of them are not. So, luck of the draw. I just happen to have an unfortunate initial experience that's left my opinion kind of tainted. This is my stop. Brainstorming. Besides age restrictions, I've heard some not so pleasant things about other minority groups and what they have to face. I'm not an authority on that. It's enough for me to try to figure out what my own situation is. Other groups, I highly recommend you get videos, recorded videos that deals specifically with your own situation, because I'm still trying to figure out what I'm dealing with, and I'm trying not to get too cynical. Yes, escalator's actually going in my direction. Wow. All right. Okay. So, I don't know. Still trying to figure it out. The language, I think it's going to be a big mistake to try to get too tangled up in that. I can learn what I can about the culture without referring to the guidebooks, which at this point I'm not prepared to trust. So I'm just going to have to keep on rehashing my own experiences and seeing what I can get out of that. Anyway, it's enough to try to guess. So I'm leaving the T station. I'm still on my way to work. And I will talk to you later when this escalator's not working. Always something. Talk to you later. Let's see where I'm at this thing. Alright, still on my way to work. Another point I forgot to mention. The most obvious place to start would seem to be Ho Chi Minh, right? Some still call it Saigon. Yeah. I grew up in Miami. I couldn't stand that attitude back then. I'm sure as heck not going to stomach it now. So, if you're a real Cold War enthusiast, if you like that, that's fine. If that's not your thing, I wouldn't recommend it. Maybe to visit it just out of curiosity. Don't take anyone's word for anything. I'm a strong advocate of that. But if you're thinking of setting up there, just know that that's the kind of attitude you're going to have to deal with. Fine if you're in the defense industry. If you're in the into war, that's fine. Otherwise, no. I already had enough of that growing up. All right. That point needed to be made. Talk to you later.